Let's dive into some game news today. And of course, one of the biggest news items out there is Star Atlas. We'll be breaking this down with a big announcement here on the show today from their CEO. You guys don't want to miss it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is Tangem. If you guys are looking at long-term storage of your coins and you want to do it in a self-custody way, well, Tangem is one of the best solutions out there. Very secure and also very easy to set up. So even if you're brand new to crypto, or you're brand new to self-custody, this is the platform for you. It comes in a 3-card set. I say it's a 3-card set. You can actually get 2, but get the 3-card set, that extra backup. Use our code down below. It's going to give you guys a little bit of a discount. It helps us. All right, so let's get into a couple of points that we've been covering for the past couple of weeks. As you guys will remember, we did a video last week showcasing a handful of altcoins. It was a 2-part video of projects to watch. You see Block Lords on there, a handful of others, Overs in there, a Fin we still like, and then Atlas is also in there. And we think that these are projects, when you look at the gaming tokens, that potentially have some potential to really start moving here. Other things I wanted to kind of compare this to is, when you think about Star Atlas, is getting into things like a Star Citizen. Now, Star Citizen is kind of the Web 2 version of this, but I just want to kind of frame it in the sense of size. If you look at how much they've raised over the years, obviously a very, very large ecosystem here. The 22 financials offered some additional information about investors, and there's a couple of investors here that are of note. It's the Calder brothers, and they represent about 85% of the minority interests right now. So if they were to get into a position of a sell, a specified amount of underlying security at a specified time frame, they have until March of 2025 to exercise this option. So what does that mean? With that, we look at it and say, all right, well, if this were to be the case, could you see a movement from a Web 2 platform to a very similar scenario playing out with Star Atlas? And I think that's the thing, because obviously Star Citizen, very, very popular. And both these games have not launched. You know, I mean, there is limited play with invite-only codes, etc. This could be pushing into the right time at the right place. And that's the thing we're looking at around gaming. There's a few things that will play out in the next 12, 18 months. I've got a clip here that's going to get into some detail on, is gaming and AI destined for success? Let me go to this clip real quick.
In the quarter, crypto startups raised $2.7 billion across 503 deals. That's a 2.5% bump in invested capital compared to Q1 of this year. Data sent to us from the crypto advisory firm shows that in Q2 of this year, AI private investments totaled more than $40 billion, far surpassing crypto investments. Do you think AI is in fact pulling some capital away from blockchain investments?
The generalist VCs have left. They haven't come back yet. They are definitely looking at the shiny ball, and that's AI right now. Where we think that generalist investors will come back will be at the cross-section of AI and crypto. You look at 2 cycles ago, most of the investments went into the application layer, right? So the Circle and the Coinbase ago, that's 2 cycles ago. Last cycle was FTX and Dapper Labs and Celsius and BlockFi. This cycle so far, we have not seen a lot of application investments. A lot of it is into the infrastructure. So we still think that looking forward in the next 12 months to 24 months, there's going to be these killer applications that have to come to market that are getting the users. That is where we're expecting a lot of the value accretion to happen. Firedancer raised $150 million round this past quarter. Most of the folks that are using Firedancer are crypto. And so we're looking at who are building a blockchain-based application that is serving non-crypto users. The ones that have been building, through the bear market, over the last 2 years, and have gotten to a place now where they're finding traction, they're finding product market fit. And then, so I don't think we're there yet, but once we do get there, we expect that's where the investments to go.
Will AI play a big role in this, especially as we start to see integration from some of the AI tools out there within some of the Web3 gaming? So we, of course, wanted to bring in a guest of the show that has been with us a couple of times, and that's Michael Wagner, who's the co-founder and CEO over at Star Atlas. Great to see you back.
Hey, good morning, Paul. Great to be back on the show with you.
Yeah, so we're going to get into a lot of detail today because obviously a lot happening right now. We want to get into what you guys are doing in terms of the massive crew cards that are being minted today. And explain to us a little bit about this airdrop that you guys are right in the middle of when you look at the crew packs, how all this is going to work. Give me a rundown on this.
Yeah, this is a really exciting moment for us, something that we've been building towards for the last couple of years now, more specifically since the beginning of the year, working on this next and probably the last major asset class to be released by Star Atlas. Now, as you know, Paul, we've sold ships, we've sold multiple types of land, including claim stakes that you can mine and produce resources from, cosmetic land on central space stations for player halves where they will live and reside inside the universe of Star Atlas and inside this metaverse concept. And now we're releasing that really third and final asset class, which is crew. These are your individual characters, your individual avatars, but they have application and utility across the entire suite of products and features released by Star Atlas. We can get into those, I'm sure, a little bit later, but part of our rollout strategy as we were selling ships and selling assets all the way back in 2021 is that a major perk in being an early supporter and buyer of those is that you would receive an airdrop of both upgraded components for your ships, so things like enhanced weapons, enhanced shields, enhanced thrusters, as well as crew to operate your ships. Now, this is a really big deal because in the future, as players purchase ships, which could see crews as large as 300 individual units, they will need to go out and individually buy those crew members to support and man the battle stations of those ships.
The other thing that I was looking at here is just the amount of customizations that you guys have rolling. So the options seem to be somewhat unlimited here. Explain a little bit about crew customizations. How's that going to work?
Yeah, well, in the existing crew drop, all of the cosmetics are essentially procedurally rolled. So in the case of the existing crew sales and the crew packs that people are receiving now, there's a pack opening experience. And so we're selling packs of 5. You can go into the pack opening application and open those up. And now these crew will receive random rarities, traits, aptitudes, and all of these lead to completely unique identities of each of the 7.5 million crew that are being released. In the future, these crew will also serve as your in-game avatar that you can play as, and they'll be fully customizable to your point. So changing out every single cosmetic, item, mod, as well as the equipment that these crew are wearing.
So crew packs right now, all tiers, looks like you have the silver, gold, platinum tier here. Kind of gives you a rundown of the commonality all the way down into rare, epic, legendary. So I think this is, first of all, what's the expectation here, I guess, from you guys? How do you think this is going to roll out for you? What are you guys looking forward to?
Well, our expectation is a lot of excitement around not only, say, internally the revenue potential for us. This is quite a large mint. Again, it is the last major asset class that we're rolling out, but we've built a tremendous amount of utility into these. So I mentioned your in-game avatar in Unreal Engine. These are usable in Sage, our 2D top-down RTS MMO that's in browser right now, using these crew as crafting crew members to increase your productivity across the game. So anytime you are executing a crafting operation, you can reduce the time to completion by enlisting additional crew in that process. These will be PFPs, so we think that they're incredibly cool art that we've created here. And while PFPs are a bit out of vogue right now, they're not as popular as they were, say, back in 2021. We still believe this is going to be a pretty cool PFP mint. And then in the future, these crew members will also be used within our mobile fitness application, which is the Move to Earn or Move to Progress app. And so across all of those, we're quite excited about the demand and interest. And we're going live on this today with the sales and the pack opening.
Yeah, congratulations on all that. So a couple of points in terms of availability. You look at Tensor being of Star Atlas and, of course, what you guys are doing right now with Tensor. The potential of going into something like a Magic Eden, when would that play into your strategy?
This is the Tensor announcement is a pretty big deal for us. We've built our own marketplace from the ground up, going all the way back to 2021, and our assets were almost exclusively sold on what we call the Galactic Marketplace. And so this is the first time we've really announced a partnership with an external third-party marketplace, and we are working with Tensor as the exclusive secondary marketplace for Crew. After the packs get opened, these are all minted as CNFTs, and without getting too technical, these are a Metaplex NFT standard that we're using, and so now they will all be tradable on Tensor once the packs are opened. I could certainly see us working with Magic Eden in the not too distant future. I'm a regular guest on Simplified and Gamified with Sam Stefanina, and Nock is works with Magic Eden, and I'm pretty close with him. We have a good relationship with Magic Eden. We actually sold our graphic novel through Magic Eden exclusively for the first 9 episodes of that. So absolutely, we will be coming back to Magic Eden, rolling this sale out with Tensor as an initial exclusive, but excited to see Star Atlas assets traded on some of these other broader marketplaces, because what we've failed to capture historically is how impactful the total volume and value of Star Atlas assets are across the Solana ecosystem. It simply isn't tracked because there aren't many metrics on our own internal marketplace.
I was looking at one of the posts you guys had on X, and it's talking about the rare species. So these creatures, what are these for? Explain to me a little bit about that. I'm learning more and more about you guys starting to roll a lot of different assets out. How does this one work?
Yeah, well, Tufa, these are going to be anomaly exclusive assets. You'll see Tufa a lot in our endgame content, but and by the way, I'm extremely interested in securing one of these myself. There will only be 50 total anomaly crew cards opened out of the entire 7.5 million mint. There will also only be 10,000 legendary crew cards opened out of that mint. So these are going to be very rare, very exclusive, and very difficult to come by. But in effect, we have 7 species across the various factions of Star Atlas. And so you'll be able to choose whether you want to open the human characters, that's the Mud faction, 4 different species of an alien consortium called Oni, and then we also have our Ooster characters. Those are the sentient android beings. What you have on screen here, part of the anomaly packs, are the Fatoli. These are light beings, and then the Tufa, which are essentially the rock creatures in Star Atlas.
You look at a lot of these early games, obviously Star Atlas not rolled out, but you look at Star Citizen and many other ecosystems that we've started to see things happen. One of the things that has been used as a strategy is the insertion of wildlife, and mainly just to make things kind of look as though there's things that are going on. Obviously, we saw Power World, the explosion of that one, it kind of introduced those kind of elements. I want to go to a clip real quick, because this is Star Citizen and the importance of these kinds of activities that are going on within the game. Let's cut to that clip.
Creatures are just going to offer a whole different dimension to the gameplay.
It just takes the game to another level of breathtaking. So if you manage to kill the Copians, you'll see the horn on them, and you can loot that, and it's basically a valuable commodity of which you can sell on.
It's going to be exciting for the players to hunt out those creatures and find them in different environments.
I've seen some people going up to the birds and punching them. And if you do that, you will find a pearl in there. I think it's in the base of their mouth. And as we go on, the previous creatures that you've seen, for example, the space whale and the space cow, those things are in active development right now.
So that kind of strategy seems to be working. What would that look like if it were in a Star Atlas?
Well, a lot of parallels to what we're doing at Star Atlas, and we actually outlined in our roadmap all the way back in 2021 that our season 2 content. Now, this is probably a year and a half, 2 years away still, but our season 2 content is a big game hunter loop. Now, as you can imagine, when you're building out an entire universe, that needs to be populated with content for people to engage in. And we could have thousands of procedurally generated planets across this universe that people can navigate to and explore. And there might not be any other live players on that. Now, in the case of Star Atlas, the gameplay loop is to go to those planets and either complete bounties or collect hides, collect skins from the various creatures there, bring those back to the Central Space Station and complete missions and or use those in various crafting recipes and formulas.
Okay. All right. So in the roadmap, looks like it's going to be there as a big component in the coming years. Let's go over to the companion app. This obviously is your move to Progress app you mentioned earlier. As far as the release date, is this still on cue with what you guys are expecting with the release? How's it coming?
This is one of the most exciting features and applications that I think we have in our roadmap. I've been pushing extremely hard for us to be able to reprioritize development on the mobile app. As of right now, it does not look like we'll hit a Q4 release of this year. It is most likely getting pushed into next year. We've really reprioritized a few of our Unreal Engine features, specifically in preparation for Breakpoint, which is coming up in September this year. That's in Singapore. We have a number of big announcements there, and we're focusing on 4 core gameplay loops for that. So the mobile application has been deprioritized for now, but I see this as one of the biggest opportunities for user onboarding and top of funnel user acquisition for Star Atlas. One, because the barrier to entry is very low. 2, because mobile devices are ubiquitously distributed. And 3, the cost of entry is also quite low, with crew members and crew packs selling for as little as $5 per unit. So I think there's a big opportunity there. We do want to get it back into the priority set. For now, we've focused a lot of our efforts on the AAA Unreal Engine content, though.
One of the things that will be happening, of course, Solana Mobile we're looking at, but I'm kind of curious, when you look at just the capacity of third-party perks for like crew holders, because that's a strategy that's been used before. What about that direction for Star Atlas?
I could certainly see something like this happening, and we've had conversations with the Solana Mobile team. So we are looking at various either airdrops or marketing campaigns that we can run alongside them. I think presently the total quantity of devices out there isn't huge, so it's not a complete mass market marketing opportunity for us just yet, but we're seeing the demographic grow, and I think what was executed exceptionally well is with the Saga 2 coming out, just how many partners they were able to land. I would argue most people bought the phones for the airdrops and not necessarily for the device itself. But this is a great user acquisition strategy for Solana and the Solana Mobile team, and I do anticipate us working with them in the future.
Yeah, we've seen so many different projects now starting to go in this direction with hardware releases, so I would agree with you as well. So I'm looking at your Epic Game Store page here, and of course, I'm curious as to when we're going to see a full launch in terms of the game.
I would point, it does require a game access key now, as you pointed out at the in the intro segment. We do distribute those quite liberally. So anybody that wants to join our Discord, happy to provide them with game access keys. We are targeting going into Breakpoint and into Q4 to continue the private early access with new experimental modes and new gameplay modes and enhancements onto our existing gameplay. Getting into Q1 of next year, we're anticipating a public open access launch of our pre-seasonal content. What's really exciting about that for me is we'll be adding all of the multiplayer support across all of our different gameplay loops, and again, enhancing the existing gameplay loops that are out there. I think getting to a place where we have character progression and missions, open access and multiplayer, is going to be a really exciting time for us, because it starts to feel a lot like a true MMO.
Man, you guys have so much stuff going on. With this happening, I'm looking at some of the announcements that we're looking forward to. One, of course, is going to be the Saga Chapter 2, possibly seeing a release or a big announcement. We don't know what that's going to be, though I think a lot of people have looked at this as possibly being maybe a phone or a gaming device. I'm kind of curious, what do you think it's going to be? You think it's going to be a phone or a gaming device?
Anatoly's really fond of the mobile segment, so I would certainly anticipate more of the mobile phone device announcement. I think it's possible there is a gaming announcement, though. Just to be perfectly honest, I've seen Solana step back a bit from promoting the gaming segment. It's not as popular on Solana. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of noise around meme coins right now. And I don't think Solana is directly promoting meme coins, but we just haven't seen a ton of emphasis on gaming specifically, which we have seen on some other chains. I think AVAX, for example, Avalanche is doing a phenomenal job with promotion of this user application.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the question, of course, a lot of people are asking. SWE, of course, is getting ready to launch their gaming device. I wonder, with that being on the market, if maybe it is a better strategy for Solana Mobile to be going the mobile direction, which, listen, let's be real. There's going to be a lot more mobile users than there are, somebody that's going to use a handheld device, especially if you start to look at the additional elements of what a mobile device brings in addition to gaming, because it still could be a great gaming device, just maybe not necessarily dedicated to it. I want to go over to another clip here, because this gets into some other things that we're watching from a technology standpoint. I want to get your opinion on this. Let's go to this clip real quick on XReal.
Paired with a Bluetooth controller, you have a giant portable gaming setup that's way bigger than playing on your phone's display. And it actually gave me an advantage too, because I could see everything really big. So I can actually notice more details in games, and I can see when other players were approaching me from afar.
Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth mouse, and you're now working on multitasking, editing, scripting, doing some work, let's say on a plane, or even when you need to be around, without having the need to bring an entire PC with you or a large tablet.
There are two big camera lenses here. Naturally, as your own eyes, and it helps with the spatial video depth effect. It feels a lot more natural than just taking photos or videos on the glasses themselves. It's much more natural, it's more comfortable.
So a couple of big points there with the XReal device. Obviously, the gaming element could open up a new platform. Obviously, Star Atlas, PC only. Right now, the expansion into those kind of things, including things like Meta and what we'll see, I think really coming from what Meta has been doing with the release of their devices, but also just spatial mapping, because now you're getting into things like DPIN. For those of you listening in, maybe decentralized physical networks, these infrastructure networks, these are important because of mapping. We've talked about a variety of projects out there on the Solana ecosystem. What do you think about that as a progression for Star Atlas?
For Star Atlas, where I would see this being applied, though, is perhaps directly with our mobile Move to Earn app, where you can have Pokemon Go-like experiences where you're on the move. I think what's really exciting about these devices is the AR augmentation over your interactions, again, with the physical world. So I could see that being applied directly to our mobile Move to Progress application.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much this sets up commerce. And I'm not necessarily talking about Star Atlas in general, but if you look at what Meta is doing, they'll be announcing a lot at Meta Connect this year, which is happening very ironically, very close to when we'll see a lot of things happening with Breakpoint. So, but my point is that we're getting into a point now, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more commercial use cases, things even outside the gaming sector, which eventually will draw in brands and integrations with IP, all that kind of stuff, for sure. Do you think that's going to be a big part of gaming going forward, Michael? I know this is a headier, discussion, because I think a lot of true gamers are like, hey, let's keep it very sliced into just gaming. But we're starting to see a little bit of an invasion, even if you look at what Xbox has done with their strategy. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a big step towards the concept of the metaverse. Again, another topic that isn't necessarily in vogue in the current phase of the cycle, but I do deeply believe in the potential of these immersive 3D interactive experiences that we'll participate in the future. I think gaming is really a cornerstone and a centerpiece to the metaverse. I think it provides a reason to participate and engage in the first place, but certainly part of our longer term strategy is to build out commerce centers on central space stations where we can have the likes of Nike and big box stores with digital employees serving within those stores, selling both physical goods as well as digital goods that you can equip on your avatar. So absolutely, I think we'll see more of digital commerce taking place in 3D worlds like Star Atlas in the future.
Let's talk about growth on chains. You look at Base and what they've been able to do when you add in layer 2s. This is just kind of a comparison of the Base, Arbiter, and Optimism in comparison to Solana. Obviously, a lot of activity there. We've seen a lot of projects. What about that in terms as a strategy? Not going to Base, but in the sense of being able to operate on multi-chain?
We've put a lot of thought into this. One of the challenges for us specifically is the full extent to which we execute on-chain gaming logic, this idea of a fully on-chain game. So pointing to, say, our star-based Sage release, which is in browser, movement, coordinates, fleet configuration, fleet formation, inventory systems, mining, extraction, crafting systems. These are all on-chain operations. And so when a player takes an action, that is an actual transaction that's executed. The challenge that this poses for us is that depending on the programming language of one of these alternative chains, and even if it's a, say a similar Rust-based programming language, there are still different frameworks that are used across all of these layer 1s and layer 2s. So for us, it would essentially mean a recreation of all of our game logic anytime we want to transition. Now, that's not to say that we can't deploy some type of feature on an alternative chain so that people can interact, and certainly interoperability where players can transfer assets back and forth. But in terms of delivering and executing on the actual game, it becomes more challenging for us just because of the immense amount of engineering work we've already done on Solana.
I get it. All right, with that being said, you look at activities that have been happening with Solana here recently, Jump Crypto on a kind of on the news cycle right now. Many people looking at this mainly because of their involvement with Firedancer and the importance of what that might mean. Are you at all worried about the impact of what Jump is doing exiting the space, whether or not we see Firedancer truly come about? What's your, kind of your position on this?
I'm not really worried simply because I think even if Jump intends to exit the crypto space entirely, they've already put a tremendous amount of effort into the development of Firedancer, and I would not be at all surprised to learn that there are financial incentives on the back end of full execution and delivery of Firedancer. So whether they're motivated to stay in crypto or not, I would bet they are motivated to at least fully deliver Firedancer to Solana before making their full exit.
Yeah, that's kind of the theory that we've been working with, is that this year's event, when you look at what's happening with Breakpoint, maybe this is the chance for us to truly see. And maybe there's a handoff. Who knows what that tech could be looking like going into the Solana ecosystem. Last couple of points I want to hit on is, with all of this happening, and even if you were to say sub-deploy on Base, I want to kind of go back that for a second. Would that open up an opportunity of actually getting a listing, over on Coinbase? I mean, because obviously this is, something that many people ask about all the time. Where do I buy Atlas? How can I get Atlas? Get exposure to it?
Listings are pretty nebulous. We also take the position as a company being based in the United States that we don't proactively reach out to exchanges for listings, but when they do reach out to us, we certainly are cooperative and collaborative with them.
Sure.
I think it is, as I said, a bit nebulous how to achieve listings. I would think a project of our caliber, our status, our history, and our state of development, it would be reasonable to see both Atlas and Polis listed on Coinbase. If moving to Base was one of the requirements. And by the way, I have spoken to various exchanges. I won't name any specifically, but they have made asks of us deploying some of our game features or technology on their chains. I think it would probably it would lead to some potential, but there's never a guarantee with any of these either. And there's a lot of bureaucracy in the listing process itself.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Roadmap. I'm looking at the Star Atlas roadmap here right now. a lot of things in progress with those purple balls. We'll let everybody know. Is there anything that is in progress right now that could be landing soon, say before year end?
We ran the big stress test with metagravity with over 1,000 concurrent players in a single instance. We're bringing out new gameplay modes for that. And we're also launching 2 features around our central space station. This will be the opportunity to use your land claim to come and purchase or bid on specific parcels. You have to own the land claim. You can come and select a parcel and start a bidding process. This is also the social center and commerce hub. So again, looking at bringing the full expansive metagravity multiplayer capabilities to the CSS. And then on top of that, rolling out something that we call Project Gallia right now. This is the universe. This is deep space exploration, being able to hop into your spaceship, fly off of the central space station, go land on various planets and celestial bodies. In the future, we'll be adding mission systems to that. And this is, again, where some of the first progression systems will come in, where your character is leveling up and you're capturing that effort that you're putting into gameplay.
Okay, well, with all that said, is there any AI integration into any of those rollouts coming this year?
Specifically on our production side, we're a bit resistant to incorporating too much AI into art production,
right?
But also looking forward at the AI agents, so NPCs that you can interact with and have human-like conversations. That's an area that we are specifically focused on today as well, though I don't anticipate any of that rolling out with the immediate releases.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of this coming out at Breakpoint. I'm sure you've got some secrets in the bag right now you can't tell me.
We have a few things up our sleeves, as usual.
I'm trying to read you, Michael. I can never tell if you've got something there that, we can sneak out. Tell me a little about what's going on there with Wilder World.
I really like the guys at Wilder. I've been chatting with Neo, their CEO, quite a bit. We are looking at deeper integrations and collaborations. Speaking of cross-chain interoperability, they're launching their Meow chain, which is a fork or subnet of Polygon. And so I've been chatting with Neo a bit about that. Again, complexities because the EVM, Solidity-based programming language, it would be a bit difficult. But of all the teams, of all of the other games in the Web3 space, I think Wilder is really impressive. The caliber and quality that they release is best in class as well. And so these are the teams that we would like to work with at Star Atlas, where we think it really matches the quality that we're rolling out as well. There are some synergies in the fact that they started with a racing module in Miami and they're moving into their shooter module now, following a lot of the same track that we've taken with our hover racing and combat racing rolling into third-person shooter modes. So you'll see some stuff coming out between the two of us in the not too distant future. And we did announce that the Wilder World community is getting an airdrop of crew packs during this major launch that we're rolling out today.
All right, you guys, if you want to find more about Star Atlas, just jump over to staratlas.com. You guys check it out there. And love to have you back on the show, especially as we roll past Breakpoint. I think we're going to see a lot of announcements. So next year, 2025, could be a big year for Web3 gaming. Michael Wagner, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Paul. Thank you.
You bet. So make sure and just click the link down below. And of course, follow me on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.